An apple a day might keep the doctors away, but a goddamn chocolate will reel in all the baddies and turn you into a clapping machine. This is what happened to extremely useless and stupid high school student Jiang Haoyi because this idiot eats a chocolate and unexpectedly becomes the harem king. My man is receiving confessions from beautiful girls here and there and somehow even has a baby with one. This guy is one bad guy, I tell you. Perplexed by this strange situation, he stupidly does what he can to unravel the mystery. We see a guy running for his dear mortal life. He runs up to the roof and stands at the edge of the building. Oh, what crime has little Johnny committed that a whole mob wants to hear what's up? He decides to trash his own life by letting it all go. He lets go of the rails and begins to free fall into gravity's pulls. Before he reaches the center of the building in his free fall, something of a fine pink angel came down and slowed down time. I'm thinking she came to pull him into another world and make this guy an isekai clap star, but she just asked him if he ate some chocolate that belongs to Cupid. Wait a minute, let's back up a little bit. His name is Jiang Haoyi, and he's just 19 years old. A pathetic virgin and an invincible college boy. The most basic NPC you can ever think of. While class is going on, a pink-dressed girl walks up to him and holds his hands. The whole class drools over her, and the simple old virgin here is shocked that she's talking to him. Her name is Xiaozi Tong. She comes bearing news that gets every boyfriend thinking she's pregnant for Jiang. Wait, hold up. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that has clapped the living daylight out of this cutie? Forget the fact that his world just exploded into a billion pieces. The whole class is shocked into extinction. Everyone's up and now journalists and are ready to interview this virgin even if it means hard interrogation. I still do not believe this could all just be a dirty prank. She tells him that they're 3 months in already. She asks if he can feel it, but I know he's feeling the tension right about now. But his and can't afford no diaper denies knowing anything about it and about her too. Even if he knocked her up, sporting goods don't pay no diaper money. The whole class gets riled up. She's their goddess. How could this lowly species not know who she is? He grabs her and runs at the speed of light because having that discussion in class could send him to his ancestors up in the sky. The news blows up in school and everyone gets pictures and videos of it. He can feel the rage all around the school. And now it's just the girl, the supposed baby, and his useless self. He begs her to stop spitting crap that might end his life. The school announces that his NPC ass is wanted, red notice level, and must be tracked down at all cost. He decides to split up with Jia and runs off. In the hallway, he spots the cleaner and picks up a mop. He uses the mop to wipe out the mob like he's Lord of the Mops, the chore leader. He's pulled into the ladies' convenience at the speed of light, and he's faced with 2 angry gorilla-looking women. They could beat me up and I'd not be angry. Tang Xuan properly dusts his face and asks what's the meaning of all this she's hearing. He tries to explain to her that nothing of sort ever happened and she pulls closer to him. Damn! Look at those melons and say she's in so much pain. She uses a table tennis bat to smash his face like she's in a World Cup tournament. She says they used to live alone. She threatens him with a ball and I hope they don't mean she'll crush his bloodline. They stepped out of the restroom like big steppers and another girl jumped in and hugged him saying they should go home. She says 2 people miss him and he asks who they were. She used a big book to dust the living daylight out of him, but she was stopped by Tang. The girls have a little spat and Jiang uses this opportunity to Quicksilver his way out of there. Now we're back to the scene of the rooftop. He's surrounded by a crazy mob, a pretty girl with his child, a blondie saying they should go home, and an angry big meloned cute gorilla who's pissed at him for knocking up another girl. He screams at the crowd that he doesn't know these This only aggravates the crowd more. He thinks about it, and he's just a flimsy NPC. What is he living for? He jumps off the roof, and here comes the goddess to ask for Cupid's chocolate. She breaks his fall and wonders why he's not freaking out after falling such a distance. He remembers eating a cake on the rooftop. She explains to him that the cake would make people who eat it pure and obsessive lovers. He realizes that he's got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 females to deal with. He screams out loud, and she tells him he's done for. After running for his life all day, the helpless bro lays on the table and can't even get any sleep. He's just wondering why the god of love is wandering around and planting chocolates to ruin people's lives. The god Cupid told him he should enjoy being chased by women, but this lonely and used to be invincible NPC really would love to return to the good old days of going unnoticed. He grabs her and shakes her like a bottle of seeds, not minding if her melons were dangling from east to west. He recalls her last words to him, being that the curse can be broken and he can finally return to his NPC life when he's done fulfilling all the lady's heart dire. Still in remembrance, he recalls how everyone searched for him like a missing fugitive with a heavy ransom on his head. That's when it occurred to him that a crazy person is up on the roof and might just decide to follow him to the afterlife that she thinks he has reached. He quickly stepped his way up there like a ninja from the anime Bleach. He met her crying a river and asked her to follow him somewhere the next day. I'm sure it's a pregnancy test. He wants to know if he's sleep clapping these girls and doesn't know about it yet. Sia was nothing but shocked to see the father of her child happy and okay, not scratched and not dead after jumping from the top of the building. Yup, like I suspected, he took the little pretty miss to a hospital to make sure he's the father of her child she's proclaiming to be with. At the hospital, some elderly backlash him for not using a rubber while hitting it from behind. Now see where he's landed himself. She was just laying on him peacefully, then she got up to ask if they were there for the test results. "No, miss. We're here to you." She calls him nice for being there with her and caring enough to dig out time for her and the baby. She says he's gonna be a good dad. Just then, the test results came in and our bro has got to pay diaper money. Psych! He's not just not going to be the father, there's no child. She holds on to him and says it's her fault and will do her utmost best to conceive his child. Everyone in the hospital hears her say that they should go clap themselves all night for a new baby, and the foolish goes red hot like a volcano ready to erupt. He tells her they should head to her home so he could explain that their delusional daughter thought his broken, penniless self got their cutie patootie pregnant. They get to the house and it's a first-class mansion with guards waiting for her. She's from a freaking wealthy family, and seeing her turn around just now, I realize she's got good-sized melons. Whilst walking in, she thinks of the day he came to propose, and I propose that her memory of a proposal was cake-induced because that liverless house rat could never muster up the kind to propose to a girl. Though her father rejected him then, she still sees it's kind of him to do what he's about to do. They're welcomed by the head maid at the gate. Foolish Xia was about to spill the beans about what's going on, but Jiang steps in and holds her lips shut. He introduces himself as just a friend. They go into the mansion and the head maid tells him about how sad they feel because Xia's father is never available ever since he got his business expansion. While she was shedding crocodile tears, one of the guards run in with news we've been trying to keep under the carpet that they've knocked up their beloved Xia, and the one responsible is sitting right there like a... No, he's already making his move to run for his dear life, but he's slow as a snail and gets caught by the guards, and they god stomp him till he almost passes out. She comes to his rescue and says they love each other. They take another good look at his disgusting face and stomp him all over again. She says he proposed, and just as the stomping was about to stop, they pull him in and stomp the daylight out of him until he flees to Xia's direction. She immediately grabs him by the wrist and takes him to her room. The guards bang on the door, but she doesn't open it for them. Zhang sees her calendar and notices she has daddy issues and decides to speak with her dad. He runs out of the room and grabs the phone out of the hands of the head maid and tells Xia's dad that he's the one that clapped his daughter so good that she thought she was gonna have a baby. Her father immediately arrives with a 5-star GTA police raid to make Jiang regret not using a rubber. Xia's father came out of the limo and took one good look at Jiang's disgusting face and ordered that they stomp him to the afterlife. Just as Jiang was ripping the reward of his actions, Xia tells her dad that he lied and shows him the hospital test results. He takes them and takes a good look at them with his glasses and orders they stop trying to send him to the afterlife. He takes one good look at Jiang's ugly face and tells him he has some balls to say what he said. He asks Jiang why he said so, and having asked him return that if he didn't say so, would he have come to see his daughter? Electricity ran through his body and love filled Xia as she heard that. He continues to explain that he saw her calendar and realized that she noted every time they did something together, which means she feels alone and lonely, though he's provided for her a whole mansion and so many guards. The guards are moved by his words. He gets up and walks like he owns the show until he gets to the gate and runs at the speed of light to the back of the house. He already thought he went far, but it's just her backyard. She and her career-driven father have a little chat before she locates Jiang at her backyard and tells him he's not gone that far from her house. She went in to kiss him, but she puffed into flowers and the love god Cupid showed up and told him that the spell on her has been broken and she's back on her bed having her beauty rest. Her father goes in and makes up his mind to give his daughter more time before she actually gets knocked up this time. Jiang walks out on the love god who was still trying to explain things to him, but the stupid boy just walks away thinking he's back to his normal lifestyle. A few days later, he gets to school after recovering from what Yia's family and guards did to him. He meets a bigger commotion in school. He falls to his feet and sees that someone put up flyers everywhere that his 2 children and his so-called wives are looking for him. He immediately goes into hiding because he knows if he's seen, he's gonna take another whole round of whooping. He hides his ugly face, crawls like a slug until he gets to the famous right corner protagonist backseat of the class. His world melts away as Xia comes and tells him about how she's grateful for everything that he did for her. Jiang, shocked to the core of his being that she still remembers, calls out to the love god whose name is Mei. She explains that she was trying to tell him that though the curse is lifted and the lust love spell is off, they still retain memories of what happened. So any love that he's shown after the spell is lifted is true. She unfreezes time. Xia asks Jiang to go out with her the following day, but just as he's about to agree to go with her, a certain lady bursts through the door like a ninja, sends 3 ninja blades to him and asks what's going on with him and the proclaimed mother of his child. He explains that whatever she heard was straight out of the crappy walls of hell. She leaned in on him and said he should prove it to her. She pulled in and lipped his soul out of him. The whole class was shocked by the miracle their eyes just witnessed. The girl is Jiang's childhood friend Shou. She just flew in from America because of the news. Luckily for Jiang, Shou's mom tailed her all the way back from America. She flung a bag at her her to get Sho's attention and says she can't believe that she came back all the way for this worm. She was asked to return, but Sho's adamant that she wants to stay, so her mother whoops her overconfident ass and knocks her out clean with one kung fu move and orders her men to carry her out. Jang thanks her for saving his lowly, useless life. He zooms outside, Mei sneaks up on him, and he yells at her for being so pretty, but she doesn't need to be sneaky and ghostly whenever she comes to him. He sits under a tree and they discuss. Mei is curious as to how the cake got all the way to America and pulled a baddie all the way back, but he explains that the baddie is just a childhood friend who has always been aggressive and abusive since he's known her. He notices the presence behind him and turns around to see Shia hiding behind 3 leaves like she's high on weed. He walks up to her. She tells him not to worry about the outing she asked for because of the incident in class, but he tells her to pick a place and a time, she informs him. Later in school, he runs Tang on his way up to class. She smacks reality out of his face and breaks up with him. He gets riled up and tells her that attitude wouldn't help her land any man, and he'll benefit from this breakup more than she thinks. Mei, the love god, appears and tells Ask the why he looks fat. Obviously a joke because she knows he just got his face wiped clean by Tang, and he replies to her saying that he just got his ass whooped and then forced into a breakup from a make-believe relationship. Breaking up is not his issue, nor is the hot slap. His issue is that she took the initiative to leave her make-believe relationship. Then it occurred this dumb finally got an idea, but a very stupid one. Mei compliments. His plan is to break up with everyone thinking that will solve his problem, but she tells him whenever a girl breaks up with you, it's only a warning sign. They got to the field where Tang is working out some guys like they're in the Hashira arc of Demon Slayer. She uses a water hose to punish them for losing to the female team. Jang knows if he doesn't stop this, someone's gonna go behind bars for loss of a life. He charged in and tried to grab the hose out of her hand and splashed water all over her. She misinterprets this thinking he went to Shia because he desperately needed to clap someone. The boys gather around him to thank him for saving their lives. Back at home while she takes her bath, Tang, she thinks back on her relationship with Jang. They've been childhood friends, but to her, the stupid boy can't fathom the love she has for him. Instead, he's busy thinking of how and who he'll clap their cheeks. Next morning, Jang wakes up to a voice. He sees that he's extra late. He noticed a presence beside him, and that's how his day jump started like a car battery. He sees Shueli on his bed with him and questions what she's doing there. And also, I might have missed it, but she's got really beautiful eyes. I can't really pick between her and Shia, but soon I will. She tells him it's the weekend and teases him about going on a date. He tells her he's looking for something to help out his essay assignment. Meanwhile, she was pulling close to him like she wanted to pull another lip-up lip. She quickly pulled his room keys and locked him inside. He bangs the door while she goes and tells her parents that she wants to help him study.
So you're a liar.
His mom tells his dad to do something about it, but he refuses. He can't afford to spend his first date locked in a room, so guess what? He climbed out that window like the friendly neighborhood hero Spidey, but he meets a girl brushing her teeth and she screams that the next door clapper is trying to clap her. He tells her to keep her voice down and promises to be her sweets. He's a bit late to his first date, like I was, because everything just seemed to go wrong that day. Shia waits for him and her thoughts begin to go wild. She thinks Jiang and Shueli are home having a clap fest. But before she concluded, he came running like the Flash trying to reach a flashpoint. They decide to take a drink first. They both sit and wonder what they should say to each other. Jiang is all in his thoughts and Shia looks perplexed. He comes up to her and checks her temperature. They're real close and things get awkward. Looking at him standing, he's got a nice body stature. He was thinking about what he'll say to her, then heavens blessed him with a good idea. An anime fest was happening nearby and they took their novice asses there. Shueli comes back into the room and sees it empty. I thought her heart would break, but she's determined it's a game and is going to find him no matter what. At the anime fest, girls are dressed in cosplays and people admire them. While they walk, she tries to hold his hand but chickens out. He sees her trying to hold his hand and can't believe he'll have to take the initiative. He's hit by a photographer who's trying to take pictures of a cosplayer. The ridiculous animators didn't bother themselves with the NPCs, they just gave them one face and one color. But our minds are blown away as we see Tang in a very cute girl's cosplay dress. She sees them and her jaws drop to the bottom of hell. Tang is shocked to see Jiang here. She grabs him and asks why he's here. Then Shia comes and says, the people here are beginning to slowly lose their minds. Tang sees two of her girls from school and decide to sprint away with Jiang and Shia so they don't see them. At that time, Shueli approached the festival with a sword you would see in Bleach. Jiang and the girls hide away in a room and Jiang tries to compliment her but says it in a wrong way. She flares up like she's powering up a Hawkeye no Chikara, a destroyer energy in Dragon Ball. She grabs him by the chin and explains that she'd always been a girly girl, but when she resumed school, two girls were bullied for their looks, and I won't blame them. They look like two gorillas with pretty faces. Those man bodies won't help them at all. So guess what Tang did? She played a hero and whooped the guys who were bullying the girls, and since then she's been the queen of the gorilla gang. She fears that if they find out she's actually a girly girl, then they'd desert her. Jiang feels she should show her true selfies to them. Even though it's weird, she's helping, not changing her life for them. As the cosplay competition gets announced, Tang mentions she needs 2 more participants to be eligible. Our guy, he didn't volunteer, don't worry, he was given no other option between the charms of Xia and the muscles of Tang. Where are the options to say no? Cue the transformation scene. They dress him up as an abomination of a rabbit. Think if Bugs Bunny had a bad acid trip. No, I'm kidding, for a girl, he's kinda cute, no homo. During his transformation, Zhueli watched from behind the curtains and saw him in his transformed form, and said she only wanted to clap him more, as seeing him in a crossdress only made her baby eggs boil. While he's admiring his new grotesque look, Zhueli snaps a picture to add to her ever-growing blackmail collection. Suddenly, Tang cries out in despair. Her competition dress is ruined, like when Sailor Moon's costume gets shredded. Tragic. When asked why she doesn't just wear what she has on, she tells him off and bolts, leaving behind a trail of jealousy from the trio who wrecked her dress. Xia explains that the dress is irreplaceable, as it was what she wore when she first won. Now, it's personal. Determined to win the competition for her, our hero heads off on a mission. But first, nature calls. Imagine seeing a pretty lady peeing with an eggplant bigger than yours. While he's answering the call of the wild, Mei pops up thinking he's into some weird stuff. With a glance at her melons, he gets an idea. Classic anime trope, but the competition kicks off and he stalls for time, hoping Mei or Xia can find Tang. When he runs out of stalling tactics, he steps up to perform solo. He slipped and fell, and for a second I thought all of his man business showed and everyone would cast him out, but they didn't. He sat up and smiled cute at them. If I didn't know, I'd think he was a girl. He's pulling all the schemes he can to stall for time, but time is fast running. He picks up a mic and begins to sing. The guys boo him, saying they want Shuang Xuan. That's Tang's cosplay name. The girls are loving him, but these are craving to feed their eyes. They begin to boo him. At this time, Tang was on the rails of the stage. Under the watchful eye of Tang, he says to the crowd that he's here for a friend and she does everything for people, but no one does anything for her. It's his first time seeing her in cosplay or knowing about it, but he says he's more attracted to her this way. In a twist straight out of My Hero Academia, Tang accidentally falls from her perch, but Mei arrives just in time, transforming their costumes mid-fall. She, Mei I mean, for the first time did something useful and chose a good theme. She transformed them into a vampire and a maiden, making the crowd go wild. They land safely, winning the competition. Zhueli, not one to miss a beat, sees Tang clinging on her man and asking how he pulled off such magic. She boils like a volcano, and nature sent 3 her way to take the hit. The trio that ruined Tang's dress discussed how their plans failed, and she overheard and vented her rage on the jealous trio, who also mentioned that they'll obtain her man. After the adrenaline rush, our hero and Tang get some alone time to change and nothing else. They argue on who to change clothes, and as things heat up, the magic clothes come off. Cupid knows what she did. He's awestruck by her melons, which makes her embarrassed. In true anime fashion, she dusts his face in seconds, sending him flying out of the room. Mei appears, and he complains about not being warned that the clothes would disappear. Distracted by his swan schlong, she struggles to concentrate and confesses her own insecurities about being terrible at magic. He comforts her with their shared loser status, making her forget she's a literal goddess. After Mei leaves in a matter of split seconds, Xia shows up, who drops some serious emotional damage, reminding him he's the worst first love ever. He takes her to the train station, but then returns to Tang. When he asks if she'd like to sleep with him, she calls him a certified clapper and dashes off. He heads to Miss Jai's apartment. She's surprised to see him since he's been AWOL for a while, but she pulls him in like he's about to get seriously clapped. Jiang heads to Miss Jai's apartment. She's surprised to see him since he's been AWOL for a while. Walking through her mess of an apartment, he marvels at her chaotic lifestyle. He sights a melon cover and freaks out. He checks her fridge and sees it's empty. He wonders how she'll ever land a man if she continues to live this way. He closes the fridge and she uses her boat-sized melons to blow his puny mind, while she wonders if his late-night visit has anything to do with Zhueli. He recalls his elementary school days where he was Zhueli's punching bag because he always did better on tests. To appease her, he began failing on purpose. One day, she made a bet in front of the whole school. If she scored higher than him, he'd have to go to America with her. He made sure she ate his dust in the test too. She confronts him and says he doesn't like her and doesn't want to go to America with her. He says he feels that she is better off with some other guy that I don't really care to know right now. In the present, he asks Miss Jai for help studying again, and she's curious about which girl he's doing this for now. Meanwhile, Shia was trying to compose the perfect text to send to her used to be broke baby daddy. She reads his text and thinks he's charming. Just as he's about to get it on with Miss Jai, she pulls in and teases him with her 1 in a million body. I wonder who's clapping this beauty, but she passes out drunk. Anime logic at its finest. The next day, she takes him to school and embarrasses his by screaming out loud to him as he walks to school, saying he should do well in school and calling this king of a darling. Everyone laughs the out of him. As Tang trains the sports teams, they all feel great that she's feeling better. Last week, she almost killed them, but one of them makes fun of her last week's behavior, and she overhears and puts in more work for them to do as punishment. Jiang came and asks of her. She immediately stomped to him and pulled him out of the room like an unwanted pest. She whispered to him, though, that she broke up with his sorry ass and he shouldn't be showing his ugly face just anywhere. She tried to explain that they should discuss this outside, but he stops her and says they are gonna have their discussion right here and right now. He challenges her and the entire girls' team to a bet. If he scores highest on the school midterm, they'll do whatever he says. The rules of the game were very simple. Any of them beat him, the whole girl team wins. 2, if he doesn't come out the highest in the school, they also win. These odds are quite unfavorable to him because he's low in grades. The girls, thinking he's a accepted the challenge and he agreed to return in a week. He begins his study grind, and Shia, finding his diligence cute, overhears the guys explaining that he's doing it all for a bet he had with Tang. Realizing he's just not into her, Tang sees her and Zhang, and she's heartbroken. The night before the exams, he sees Xueli standing in the rain from his window. He goes to her, and she runs into his arms. She tells him he's back, and they share an emotional hug. She asks if she was a disappointment, but he tells her he's not, and she should keep such thoughts away from her head. The next day, he rides the train to school, recalling how he dropped Xueli off with her mom last night, who said she's been more unstable than usual and won't be letting her go to school for the meantime. At school, he was casually strolling in. Zia saw him and came up to him. She worries if he'll be able to ace the tests in his state, but he says it's just a walk in the park. Tang gets the news that he's at the gate. She and her girls came to confront him. She mentions that he's tired, and before she can finish her statement, the girls butt in and say he's in for this and there's no way he's going to get out of it. When the exam begins, he breezes through the questions like he said, a walk through the park. That reminds me of a difficult park to walk through. The kids were too much and running here and there. I couldn't remember if I should watch my feet or these kids. He finishes first. And as everyone was going home, I heard someone say my exact lines, "Test is over, I'm finally free." Tang tries to call out to him, but then Shia comes out of nowhere and she walks home with Zhang. On their way, he asked her to pick up a dress for him. I still can't believe that they didn't bother to animate the passersby fully, even until now. Later, he approaches the team with a maid outfit for Tang, confident he'll win the bet. He tells them that if he wins, Tang will have to put on the dress. They all do most certainly not agree with that motion, but their boasts turn into anger as the results come out and he dusts their faces right in front of them. He quickly hands the dress to Tang and tells her to put it on. They argue that everything is wrong with the test he wrote. He must have tampered, but this is as honest as his. Before he leaves, he tells them that not them. He tells Tang that a wise person once told him that it's okay for a guy to be a little perverted, and by the way, he doesn't have an issue with someone dressing up as a maid. Everyone calls him a certified clapper, but who the message was meant for, understood. When the results come in, he's placed first with a perfect score. The girls berate him for being a disgusting, cultured man. Tang, seeing his effort, remains conflicted. He announces to the school that Tang will service the fans for the next few weeks. She finds him on the roof later, calling him a perverted idiot, but also expressing some twisted form of gratitude. As he walks down the hall with Mei, she asks about Xueli. He tells her about Xueli's ex-boyfriend, leaving Mei speechless. Before he can get into the juicy details, 2 kids tackle him from behind, calling him daddy. The life is more messed up than we can tell.